Hey everybody, it's Gail. So a few days ago, I put up a short about finding out that Knitpicks has apparently been hiding a carpet beetle infestation at one of their warehouses for several months. I found this out. I was on Tumblr and I saw it, and it linked to a Reddit thread, and I went to the Reddit thread, and that's what made me make the video. And in that entire 8 months, Knitpicks has not said anything publicly about this problem. They have talked about it when people have specifically contacted customer service about it, and even that reply is sort of, So I sat down, I did a little research, and I wanted to just sit down. I want to talk to you about the problem. So I want to talk to you about how long it's been going on that I know of. What has or has not been done. Bet you can guess the answer to that. Also, I want to talk about the brands owned, not by Knitpicks technically, but by their holding company. And there's a name for it's a private equity group, but what I'm going to talk about is Local Crafts is the name of the company that is owned by the equity firm. I'm making a quick note here to link to that, just so you have it. Like, I don't expect anybody to take this information and like do anything but protect your yarn stash, protect your house, and protect your money. I mean, that's what this is about. This is about Knitpicks failing its customers and intentionally lying for several months. And I also want to talk just a little bit, I'll do it closer to the end probably, about some other issues Knitpicks has had for several years that I've seen other people talk about, or my own experiences that I've had as recently as January, that I think is important to this overall thing. Because this problem, 8 months of lying to people about a yarn destroying creature being in their orders, that is enough that no one should ever be shopping at Knitpicks or any of its associated brands ever again. 100%. However, I also tend to be a person who's like, we do need to talk about it. And if this is the first time like something this bad has happened, I think you can always like be willing to give a second chance if you want to, especially when it comes down to where your money's going. It doesn't mean you have to. However, in this case, I think that this, plus several other issues over the years, some bigger, some smaller, if you can stop shopping through them, I would, for the ethics of it, frankly. But also, I'm not you, okay? Like, especially with Joann closing down and so many people losing the only yarn option they had in any reasonable distance from their homes, online ordering is more important than ever. But I also just want to give you a sense of what's going on with it so that you can understand the scope of it. So let me just get going. Okay, so first of all, it looks like, based on the Reddit thread, and I will have a link down in the basement, and it will link to the person who posted the text from the email they received from customer service. So just what they sent out. Other people have said they got the same response when they brought it up. And then under that, someone says, so all of us knitters who have been finding bugs in our yarn for 8 months have just made it up. And that's where the 8 months comes up. It's like somewhere there is a conversation going on that this has been happening for 8 months. I don't know where that conversation is, but I am willing to trust that 8 months is a fairly good estimate. And I know it's based on a comment on Reddit, but these are the sources we have because Knitpicks won't say shit. And frankly, right now, I go to Reddit for a lot of things. That Reddit is great for finding out shit like this. So thanks, Reddit. I appreciate it. I really do. So the email itself is highly questionable, because what customer service says is, oh yes, we were aware of the issue and we shut down the affected warehouse and we got a guy in to go through the warehouse, and he says there's no carpet beetles, there was no bugs. First of all, every bug has warehouses. Wait, every warehouse has bugs. Okay, let's talk. Every warehouse is going to have bugs. There are going to be bugs. And of course, this customer service person is trying to say there are no invasive bugs. There are no bugs that are going to harm your yarn stash. The other thing about this is I don't know how large these distribution centers are. I tried to find it out. Knitpicks has 2 distribution centers from where it sends the mass majority of its yarn. There is one in Columbus, Ohio, and then there is one in Utah. And I don't remember, I did not write down where exactly in Utah. But those are the 2 places that the mass majority of Knitpick shipments come from. Now, when I looked it up, the AI overview, which I don't ever really trust, honestly, on Google, did say that there is a warehouse in Vancouver, Washington that does some small shipments. I live in Portland, Oregon. That is 20 minutes from Vancouver, Washington. I could literally go there and pick up my order if they allowed it. I have never received a package from Vancouver, Washington. All of my yarn has come from Columbus, Ohio. And so if there is any sort of shipping out of Vancouver, Washington, 1, it's probably not for any of us who are just ordering off the website. 2, it is a teeny tiny amount. And 3, it is probably for people who have brand sponsorships with Knitpicks. If it's even there. Like I said, I never trust the AI overview, and I couldn't find anywhere else that said any shipping happens out of Vancouver. Now, they do have an office. That is where their main office is. When you get your shipping receipt, they show you the warehouse it came from, and then they give you the P.O. box for the main office, which is in Vancouver, Washington. So Columbus and Utah are the places that the yarn is coming from. I ordered back in May. I ordered 20 skeins of Swish, which is a wool yarn. I ordered 3 skeins of cotton. Real quick bit of information on carpet beetles, because I just looked it up. Carpet beetles most often eat wool, silk, fur, feathers, and leather. So like feathers in your pillow, leather you have, whatever. They will sometimes eat synthetic fibers if it's got like a lot of body oils or you spilled food on it. Like they will in some cases, but that is not their usual behavior. Also, I had to look at pictures of carpet beetles, and the larval stage carpet beetles hit me right in the ick. I cannot handle like hairy bugs. Ugh. That's another thing. Anyway, I do want to bring that up because that's very important, because I ordered Dishy, shocking no one, and this is fine. No problems at all. Haven't had any signs. And that would make sense because carpet beetles do not go after cotton. I also have not seen any signs of it in my Swish, and that is because all 20 skeins came packed like this. And this is very important because Knitpicks, if you've ordered from them before, if you order like 2 skeins of Swish, you get it loose in the box. If I'd ordered 15 skeins, it would have been one of these and then 5 loose in the box, or like 5 sort of wrapped up in, half a bag. Knitpicks gives you the option when you're about to ship to say you would like your items wrapped in plastic. That is not this. This is not wrapped in plastic. This is how the bulk Swish gets delivered to the warehouse, and they put it on the shelf. So it's going to come to the warehouse like this. I am assuming they do not do the yarns on site. Okay? I am making the assumption here. I just want to make that clear. But I've worked in manufacturing. I've worked in warehouse situations. When you're a company who makes a product and then you ship the project from a distribution center, the product shows up to the distribution center like this. So if you're ordering in quantity large enough for what they send in bulk, and that is what you have ordered and you have it and you're afraid to use it, you are probably okay. And I put that with the biggest asterisk of I hope. But if all you had in your box is a bunch of stuff that was prepackaged and closed, then your wool, your silk, those are probably safe. If you have only ordered cotton, you are probably safe, even if it is unwrapped like this. So if you've ordered the Dishy cones, they do come wrapped in plastic. I have a couple of those right now. But carpet beetles don't live in cotton. They live in wool. They live in silk. And so those are the two fibers we're really concerned about right now for us as yarn people, are the wool and the silk. So the acrylics are probably fine. But, and I cannot stress this enough, there is an infestation in the warehouse, which means it doesn't really matter if the beetles eat cotton or not. It matters if the eggs or the larvae end up on the yarn. And so it could be that somebody orders, like I said, actually I've got 3 rolls of straw right here in green, which also seemed to, I ordered this in the wrong size. No, they sent me the wrong size. That's great job, guys. And this isn't straw, this is, they sent me the wrong, I just realized they sent me the wrong yarn. I'm sorry. Anyway, so that's another. I ordered 3 skeins of Swish and worsted weight and Peapod, and they sent me 2 skeins of Swish and worsted weight and 1 skein of Stroll and Fingering. I did not order this. Wow, this is just becoming damning in all sorts of ways. Anyway, let's get back to it. So, put that down. I did order the Swish. I ordered, like I said, I ordered 3. They sent me 2 and the wrong one. This is wool. But I have not seen any signs of a problem. But again, I don't know which warehouse this is coming from. I may have just gotten fucking lucky. That's really what it comes down to. I may have just gotten lucky. It could have been that because everything else that was in the box was not loose and made of wool or silk. Any larvae that might have attached or any eggs that might have fallen against it just didn't make it because it had to ship, and high temperatures or low temperatures will kill these bugs. But you shouldn't have to kill bugs out of the yarn you bought from what is supposed to be a reliable retailer, all right? I had a couple of people, I posted my short on Instagram, and I had someone say I put all of my stuff in the freezer when I get it and leave it there and let it, just in case. And I'm like, I admire your commitment to that. I'm not doing it. And I shouldn't have, because I shouldn't fucking have to. You shouldn't fucking have to. That person does it because they want to do it. But, like, you don't do that unless it's happened to you before. You know what I mean? Like, so, those are things to keep in mind. We don't know which warehouse this is in. We don't know. And I honestly don't believe that they actually got anyone in there to look around and check the problem, because it took them all of 24 hours, according to the customer service person, and warehouses are big. Okay, there's no way that that is a small warehouse. That is a large warehouse with a lot of places where bugs can hide, and a good pest control person is going to be thorough. So either they hired someone who didn't do their job, or much more likely, in my estimate, they didn't fucking do it. Allegedly. Covering my ass. Okay, so where are we? Yeah, so Knitpicks, outside of sending notes back in customer service, has not said anything publicly in 8 months. And I have actually gone on their Instagram the last couple times they posted, and I've pointed out, hey, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about this? And I've had people say they never talk about this kind of stuff when it happens. And that's a big problem, because you know and I know that when you like a brand, you're loyal to the end because they make a product that does exactly what you want as a fiber artist. And that's the reason I'm willing to buy from Knitpicks and wait for it to get to me, is because the yarns that I use from them, I love. I prefer Dishy over Sugar and Cream. I prefer Swish over any number of wools, because I've worked with them and I know how they work up, and I know they're going to do what I want them to do. And so it is such a terrible business decision, not even getting into the ethics. And the ethics of this are shit, okay? Let's make no mistake. But just from the business side, that Knitpicks was not going, holy fuck, we need to tell people. Because here's the thing. We all know what happens. And if Knitpicks had said 8 months ago, we have become aware that there is a carpet beetle infestation. Here's what we're doing. Here's how long we think it's going to take. By the way, we're going to be refunding everybody that found fucking bugs in their yarn, or bought our yarn and then a few weeks later had carpet bugs and had no reason to have them other than they ordered some of our yarn. We're going to refund them. That's what you do in a situation like this. You don't stay silent for 8 months, give the customer service one script to go from, and then offer a coupon. Can you imagine so when I was a teenager, the Jack in the Box E. coli stuff happened. They had a massive E. coli outbreak. There's one that happened, Chipotle had like 2 in a year. And these things happen. Unfortunately. Can you imagine if you spent days or weeks sick as a dog because you went to a restaurant you go to all the time and you called and you're like, hey, I think there's something wrong with your food. And they went, oh no, we had a guy come in. He says everything's clean. Here's 20% off. And no, carpet beetles are not as severe as E. coli, obviously. But Knitpicks is putting every single one of its customers who order wool and silk, and in fact, anything from these warehouses that is not packaged up like this, they are putting them in danger of having a bug infestation through no fault of the people ordering from them. And they don't fucking care enough to tell you. They are pushing their summer sale so fucking hard, guys. They posted a video on their Insta last week being like, here's this whole outfit you can make with our yarns. And I'm just like, you have a bug problem. And you're not giving people the chance to decide if maybe they're willing to risk it anyway. Which don't risk it. Okay, no, don't. This order that I have here, I made this order without knowing. And I got real fucking lucky, all right? It's just so shitty. But, let's talk very briefly about the other brands that are under the same umbrella as Knitpicks, because I know that there is some warehouse sharing. I also am pretty sure that there is not warehouse sharing with other brands, but I just want to make you aware. So, Knitpicks, obviously, these are all owned again by Local Crafts, which was previously Premier Needle Arts. Premier Needle Arts has no connection to Premier Yarns. Okay? I think they probably changed the name because Premier Yarns became such a thing that people were talking about online, and so they changed the name. That's a guess. But I want to stress, Premier Needle Arts does not make Premier Yarn, has never made Premier Yarn. That is a different company. It appears that I am correct that Premier Needle Arts is not Premier Yarn. I just double checked on the localcrafts.com. I don't know why I put that in air quotes. On the localcrafts.com website, when it lists its brands, it does not list Premier Yarn. And so I do think what happened there is they were called Premier Needle Arts, and then Premier Yarn, which was the Joann's store yarn that I know a lot of people use for damn near everything, that is now available at some Michaels and on the Michaels website, FYI. I'm betting what happened was because Premier Yarn was becoming so popular on social media, Premier Needle Arts, that would have been one of the reasons for the name change. That's something that can happen with companies. I know an arts studio here of comic artists. They were originally Periscope Studios, and then Periscope was this Go Live Anywhere app that was really big for a brief period, but it was actually so big that Periscope changed its name to Helioscope. So I think it's that sort of situation. But let's talk about the brands that are owned by Love Crafts, which Local Crafts, I keep saying Love Crafts, I'm sorry, it's Local Crafts. That is the name of the company that runs all the brands I'm about to list. And that company is owned by a private equity firm. Please leave your thoughts about that in the comments. I'm not touching that part right now, but yes, I do think this has a lot to fucking do with it. This is the list of brands that Local Crafts lists as in their portfolio. Knitpicks, We Crochet, of course, also known as crochet.com. Connecting Threads, which does embroidery stuff. Q, which makes bags, and so I imagine the project bags that you see on Knitpicks and We Crochet are coming from Q. Madelinetosh hand-dyed yarn, so I'm assuming... I know that Knitpicks has recently branched out to selling some other yarns. They have some Lion brand lines. They have Barocco. We'll get to that in a minute. And so I don't know if I assume they sell it under the Madelinetosh label, but it also could be that Madelinetosh hand-dyed yarn has stayed a separate entity, but is owned by the same overarching umbrella company. And then lastly, Barocco and Jimmy Bean's Wool. So, and Superior Thread. So the Superior Thread, based on the name, I'm going to guess either does crochet thread or most likely embroidery thread. So Superior Thread and Connecting Threads, embroidery stuff. Knitpicks, Madelinetosh, Barocco, Jimmy Bean's Wool, crochet.com, yarn. Q, bags that are most likely supplied to Knitpicks to sell on their website, while also Q has its own website that you can order from, and so that's all run by the same company. I can't speak to any of the embroidery floss. I don't know what's in it. I haven't done embroidery in years. I know silk is very common to use. I don't know what warehouses it's coming out of, and that's the other thing. Superior Threads was a company that existed before Knitpicks. Connecting Threads, same. That's why they have different names than falling under Knitpicks or anything else. I would guess they have their own distribution centers. That is usually what happens when a corporation that is looking to have a bunch of brands that are similar will buy out brands that are succeeding and already have distribution in place, because it cuts down on the amount of money it takes to have that company. It is already running, distribution is already in place. You don't have to worry about those things. You just buy the company and move on and, sit back and make bank. So, but if you know more about embroidery threads than I do, please leave a comment letting us know, are you concerned that if there is anything stored in whatever warehouse holds the Knitpicks yarn, that there could be a problem? And it's important to note, Knitpicks was an independent seller for a long time before it was bought by Local Crafts. And so its warehouses most likely are still only holding things for Knitpicks and We Crochet. And that's something that's very important to remember here, is that We Crochet, or crochet.com, depending on how you know it, that is a direct variation from Knitpicks. It sells Knitpicks yarn. Okay, so the label here is very important. So whether you're ordering from the Knitpicks site itself or you're ordering from crochet.com, those yarns are in the same warehouses. That's what we want to be wary about. Next thing. So I would guess that if you order directly from Q or directly from Madelinetosh hand dyed, those are fine. Again, probably have their own warehouses. It's possible if you do a mixed order that if you do a mixed order from Knitpicks, I wouldn't trust the Madelinetosh or the Q from Knitpicks itself, because if it all came in the same box, it's probably all from the same warehouse. Odds are they keep a certain amount of supplies around based on order history so that they can just fill those orders all at once. But I've never ordered from anything but the Knitpicks line myself, So I can't speak to whether it comes from a different place or not. Now, the two that I know a lot of people are probably very worried about right now are Baracco and Jimmy Bean's Wool, because these are two beloved brands that have only very recently gotten snapped up by local crafts to be part of this overall portfolio. Same rules as the other ones that aren't Knitpicks labeled. If you are ordering directly from the Baracco website, if you're ordering directly from Jimmy Bean's Wool, you're safe. I feel very confident in saying that. If you have ordered from either of those directly and have had problems, please tell me in the comments. I don't want anybody buying yarn that's got bugs in it or has other problems. Now, Knitpicks does carry, they're carrying a few Baracco yarns now. They've got a couple of Lion brand lines. Do not order those yarns from Knitpicks. Possibly ever again. I don't really know how long it's going to take. I don't think I'm ever going to trust them again. I don't think you should ever trust them again. But if they have a Lion brand yarn or Baracco yarn that you like and you were planning to order from them because you were going to put it in an order and get those, go to the Lion brand website. Go to the Baracco website. Call your local yarn shop if you have one. Google it. Find a shop that has it. Order from a shop. So if it is labeled with the Knitpicks or the We Crochet label, you don't want it in your house at all. Even if it's cotton, even if it's acrylic, because all it takes, keep this in mind, all it takes is a couple of eggs hatching in your house. Okay? That's all it's, just keep that in mind. And yes, that's being a bit, I am being a bit bombastic, but like, you've got to think about it in those terms. All it takes to get mice in your house is to get a mouse in your house, okay? Same rules apply. Now, what else did I want to... Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Okay, so I think where I am on my conversation here is I do want to talk about previous things Knitpicks has done that they have not told the public. And, it's a fucking problem. So I think I told the story once before, but back in 2022, and this is a personal story. Okay, so this one right now, this is a personal story that I cannot prove was a problem for anyone else, but I think it helps set up how long Knitpicks' willingness to lie to their customer base has gone on. 2022, I made a huge blanket. It was a corner-to-corner blanket. I made it in Wool of the Andes, and I chose the Wool of the Andes superwash because it could go in the washer and dryer. I was making it for someone who had paid for it. I got it done. I wove in all my ends. I put it in the washer. And I washed it exactly as I was told to wash it. I took it out of the washer. I saw a couple of loose ends, and I thought, well, you know, it's not uncommon when you're making something that ends will pop out of where you sewed them in and when you wash them the first time. And then I held it up out of the washer, and there were holes all over the place. I'll put a photo in if I can find it again. I think I have it somewhere near the top of my files right now. And I was like, well, shit. And then I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to put it in the dryer, because I can already see all the damage. But I'm going to run it through the dryer on... I actually put it in a bag, like a lingerie bag. Got it in the dryer, ran it till it was dry. It came out. It did not look worse when it came out of the dryer. I laid it out to look at it, and I noticed that the blanket was teal and orange, and I noticed that it appeared that where the snapping occurred was in the orange. Because it was like right where the joins were for the letters were orange, and so it was a lot of the letter joins had gotten fucked up. But the overall blanket where the blue was fine, even at joins, even at places where I had added on a new skein in the middle of a row and could work around. And I took a photo of it, and I emailed Knitpicks customer service, and I said, I think you guys have a problem with your wool of the Andes, because I followed all your instructions, and this happened. This is a crocheted blanket. I did it in corner-to-corner style. Like, I basically gave them all the information they would need to be able to, like, really evaluate if maybe there was a problem with the yarn. Cannot stress enough, the customer service person was lovely. Okay? Not her fault she had to give me the answers she did. But one of the answers she gave me really pissed me off, which is that she came back and said, I showed your photo in your email to our quality team who knit, and they say it's your fault for sloppy joints. One, it's not fucking knit. Two, I know it's not my joints, and I don't mean that in a, oh no, I'm so much better. No, I have made several very large corner-to-corner blankets. And, like, to use up scrap yarn, I have never had one snap like that one did. Ever. I have never had it happen on a granny square project. Like, never, okay? A couple of ends might come loose, yes. But no, this level of destruction, I'm like, there's no way I could have only been sloppy on the orange joins. And so I sent back, hey, I think you guys are wrong. I think there's a problem with your orange. I think the wool of the Andes orange in superwash is defective. And they basically said, oh yeah, we'll look into it. Here's a refund. And I was like, okay, I tried. And so that was a personal thing that happened to me. But I stopped buying wool of the Andes after that. Because I wasn't going to go through following the instructions for how to wash it and then ending up with a destroyed item. Especially not one that took that much fucking time. So that is my personal experience with Knitpicks customer service feeding me a script that shows no sense of concern over the actual problem I brought to them. There was apparently a breach of their data, of their customer data several years ago. People got their credit cards stolen. I have no recollection of this personally happening. I was definitely buying from them at the time, but people in the comments were saying that Knitpicks never made a public statement about that either. And so if you're not even willing to make a public statement when there's a data breach, like, companies I don't like admit to data breaches. A company that I have happily given a lot of money to over the years, finding out that they never send out an email to tell their customers. So that is why I think that none of us should be trusting Knitpicks ever again. And I know that sucks, especially if they've been your main supplier of yarn, because it means having to find new yarn, and that can be difficult, especially if the reason you've ordered it online is because of access issues. My personal feelings on what Knitpicks needs to do to make this, to start making this right, not even making this right. One, admit it. And I mean, I want posts on all your social media, and I want them pinned so people can find them. I want a newsletter sent out on your newsletter service, and I want something on the top of your website for, I'll say a month. I think a month is a decent amount of time. My urge, of course, is to say for the amount of time you've been lying about it, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to do, I genuinely do not believe they're going to do anything I'm listing right now, but playing in the idea of like, But if hell freezes and kills all the carpet bugs, this is what I would want from them. And then I would want them to identify how long they have definitely known about this problem from customers. And then full refunds on any orders from that time should be available. You should have to reach out to them and prove that you have the order, obviously, but you should have your receipts because they get sent to your email. So, because here's the thing, if Knitpicks had been upfront about this and told everybody and warned them, and I went back and I'm like, oh, I didn't have any problems. Personally, I wouldn't ask for a refund because I don't need one because it didn't affect me. But at this point, when it's not just you could possibly wreck someone's entire yarn stash, or you could possibly leave someone with a bug infestation that is not their fault, that could cost a lot of money to fix, depending. The problem now is that they have lied about it for so long. On purpose. Because, okay, I guess I do have something to say about the private equity firm. Because the private equity firm that owns them doesn't want to lose money. And so rather than doing the responsible, ethical thing of saying, yeah, it happened. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, we're going to make it right. They're trying to pretend it didn't happen. And this is how businesses tank when owned by private equity. It's either this or it's dead. Pretty much those are the two. So that is everything I know about the Knitpicks situation right now. That is everything that I hope can help you decide how to handle the situation. Absolutely, if you know that there are bugs or larvae in yarn that you have, go after them. Go to customer service and say, I found the larva, I found the bugs, I have carpet bugs, and your yarn coming in is the only reason I could have had them. Make a fucking stink. I do not recommend trying to dogpile on them on social media because I think it will just get ignored or blocked or both. I am bothering them on social media, but I have some very strict guidelines for myself so that hopefully more people see me pointing it out than don't see me pointing it out on the social media. I am leaving one polite but pointed comment every time they post something. I only just started doing this. And will continue to do so until either they block me, or they do something about it. Or, and I'll be honest, or I might get bored. It might be, you know, at some point several months from now, I might be like, okay, clearly they really aren't going to do anything. Whatever happens with that, I will let you know. Also, if you are in Ohio or Utah where the warehouses are, something that you could do is, I have a link. I have a link to the main Reddit thread. I have a link to the response from the Reddit thread that shows what Knitpicks' response was. Take those links, put them in an email to your local news, and tell them this is a company that has a warehouse, and it's Columbus, Ohio. And again, I'm sorry, I forgot to write down where in Utah it is. You can look it up. But send it to the local news in Columbus and that place in Utah, and tell them this is a problem. It could lead to people who are just trying to work at the warehouse losing their jobs because this could really affect Knitpicks' bottom line because they are lying to us. That is the kind of thing that local news reporters love to get their hands on. Send them this video, if that helps you. I think I might actually get all my notes together and send it to one of the local stations here in Portland, because they're in Vancouver. Corporate offices are in Vancouver, so let's fucking go. Okay, that's everything. Thank you for sticking with me. I wrote a bunch of notes, but I talk how I talk, so it is what it is, so thank you for sticking around. I can't answer in depth any questions about how to save your yarn stash or what to do with your yarn if you don't want to use it. Feel free to ask for that in the comments. But not my area of expertise. Like I said, there's some stuff in the Reddit thread that's got some good information. There's some, and like you can just look up what to do about carpet beetles. And hopefully those things will be helpful. I hope I don't need to make another video like this for a while, because these are not the kinds of videos I make. I make videos about the shit that I make, as you know if you've been around. But if you're new, usually it's just me showing you stuff I've made and not having a script and rambling a bit, kind of like now, and cursing. A lot more than I did in this video, shockingly. So that's what I usually do. And I say that because I don't want you to think that this is what I'm going to be giving out. If you want that kind of, if you're looking more for commentary, there are more dedicated people than me doing it. I gotta burn my ass about this, so I decided to go for it. All right, I will see you guys soon. Best of luck.